my name is Martin Ng and I am a baritone. Welcome back to another episode on the Martin Ng channel. Remember in the last episode we talked about the 10 tunes so popular in opera that you can no longer deny that you know opera. Now in today's episode we're going to talk about the 10 most tear-jerking moments in opera. Opera has been known to have the power to move the soul of human beings, and people pay hundreds of dollars for the most expensive seats in the theatre to watch a live opera performance. For me, there were several moments where I went for an opera performance and in certain moments I was so overwhelmed that I shed tears, or I shed a tear. If you're curious to find out which are the 10 most tear-jerking moments in opera, please stay tuned to find out. And if you like my channel, please do not forget to subscribe and click the subscribe button below or the notification button to get notifications for new uploads. So stay tuned. One of the operas that never fails to move me to tears is the O Madre Mia scene from Almicare Ponchielli's La Gioconda. Now, probably not many of you would have heard about this opera, but this was actually the most popular Italian opera written between Aida and Otello. What's the story about? The story is about Gioconda, a street singer who falls in love with a nobleman called Enzo. However, Enzo is in turn in love with Laura, who was already married to Alvise, one of the leaders of the Venetian Inquisition. Now, what makes Gioconda so sad is that she is a real character with conflicting feelings and not the conventional one-dimensional cardboard soprano. This is a woman with real feelings. She's not an angel. She's a bitch when she wanted to kill Laura and eliminate her love rival until she realized she owes this woman one because Laura was the woman that saved her mother's life. The sad part is that this is a real moral dilemma for Gioconda. Should she ruin her own life to repay the woman who saved her mother's life, or should she just be selfish and leave Laura to kill herself on her husband's wishes when he discovered of a secret rendezvous between Laura and Enzo? In the end, she decides to perform the ultimate sacrifice when she sings in that particular scene, "I will save her for him that loves her." For me, the number 9 position goes to the forgiveness scene in the Marriage of Figaro by Mozart, Le Nozze di Figaro. What happens in this scene? Now, the Count discovers Figaro is flirting with another woman which he thinks is his wife, the Countess, but actually the woman is Susanna in disguise, hoping to bait the Count. He calls everyone around to witness her shaming and everyone begs for forgiveness, perdono. However, the Count refuses to forgive the adulterous pair until the real Countess emerges and forgives her husband for his errant ways. Now, why is this scene so sad? Now, the character Salieri in the movie Amadeus, the story of Mozart, once actually remarked this when he was at the premiere of Le Nozze di Figaro, conducted by Mozart himself. He said that, "I heard a woman wearing her maid's clothing for the very first time in years, hear her husband say the sweetest things to her, thinking she was another woman." The music in the Perdono scene has caused many of us to actually be so emotional as to shed a tear by the sheer beauty of the music of forgiveness and the generosity of the Countess's spirit. But for me, there is an added element in it of a woman who has lost her husband's love for many years, and the only way to get it back is to forgive him for his errant ways.
Perhaps one of the most poignant parts of La Boheme is Mimi's death. We know it's coming. We know it's coming maybe even from the very beginning.
It's the most beautiful, the most emotional moment in any Puccini's opera, I think. It's the most beautiful ending because it doesn't end loud. It doesn't end, melodramatic. And like she disappears, she goes. And the words are fantastic. I cry all the time when I hear this ending.
For me, the silence before her actual death.
Sempre con te, le mani al caldo dormire.
That gets me every time, that one. She's gone.
Gone, but in the silence with that chord. Nobody's moving, nobody does anything. I think this is pure theater that gets the audience. You cannot keep your eyes dry. You can't. You have to cry.
What makes the death scene so sad for everyone who watches La Boheme? I personally was in several productions of Boheme, and I recall that in the last scene, where everybody was watching life ebbing away from the dying Mimi, that everybody couldn't control their emotions, everybody felt so heavy-hearted. the first few productions of Bohème I did, I was almost tearing on stage as one of the Bohemians. What Renato Scotto said was very right. But for me, the real tragedy, and I've chosen to focus on the moment when she said "Sono andati, fingevo di dormire," which literally means, have they gone? I pretended to sleep so that they could go away, that I could have a moment alone with you to tell you how much I love you. And for me, this was the saddest moment because of the realness that's inside. In Puccini's opera, especially in La Bohème, there's so much realness, there's so much realism embodied. And it's almost as if this chapter could be plucked out from everyday life and put into this opera, where a woman actually decides to come back to her lover in her dying moments to tell him how much she loves him. 7, I've chosen Lieb Wohl, the farewell scene from Wagner's Die Walküre. Now, something which is completely different from Puccini, Wagner is really over the top when it comes to the separation of a father and a daughter. In the final act, Wotan, the king of God, punishes her daughter Brunhilde, the warrior goddess, for having disobeyed his wishes. Now what happened? Brunhilde actually assisted Siegmund in battle against the wishes of Wotan. Her punishment is that she will now be demoted to being a mortal, and she will be condemned to an eternal slumber until a superhero rescues her and claims her as his wife. So what happens in this scene between father Wotan and daughter Brunhilde? Brunhilde falls to her knees and begs her father that she not be subject to this terrible fate. Wotan of course breaks down because he knows that they will never see each other again. Between the love of his favourite child, Brunhilde, and the authority as king of gods, which was compromised by Brunhilde's disobedience, he has chosen power. However, this sacrifice totally destroys him. And once the music swells, and from the words and the music that tell us that the punishment is also for him too. And here the music and human drama combine together to form a very, very powerful scene of separation and grief and loss. Now, number 6 goes to the duet, the final duet in Tchaikovsky's Eugene Onegin between Tatiana and Onegin, which is the story and the tragedy of unrequited love. Eugene Onegin is based on a novel by Pushkin whereby Tatiana, the heroine, falls in love with a noble gentleman called Onegin. She expresses her love and pours out the sentiments in a letter for the love for this refined and elegant but somewhat self-indulgent and arrogant gentleman who cruelly rejects her. Years later, they meet in a ball at the house of Prince Gremin, who becomes Tatiana's husband. After this, the tables are now turned. Eugene Onegin realizes that he's falling in love for this new image of Tatiana, this new sophisticated, aristocratic image of Tatiana, which he didn't recognize when he knew her back in her more humble days. What does he do? He writes a letter to her pleading to seek audience with her, and in that scene pleads with her to elope with him, to love him, because he now loves her, and so that they can escape and lead a life together. Tchaikovsky clearly admits in the duet that Tatiana is still in love with Onegin, She cannot deny that she still has feelings after so many years. But she knows that Onegin has merely fallen in love with the image that she's projecting. As much as she's tempted by the prospect of eloping with him, she rejects him. What really touched my heart was the constancy of Tatiana, that her feelings for Onegin, despite her marriage to Prince Gremin, has never changed. But the futility of all is pervading, because Onegin can never love anyone except himself. His parting words, the final words in the opera was ignominy, anguish. It only shows that for him, it's not the loss of Tatiana, is not the loss of the woman that he loves, but the humiliation of the rejection that he has received, which is so ironic because it was exactly the same cruel rejection that he had inflicted on her years ago. I hope you like the 5 pieces I've chosen for opera's most cry-worthy moments. Stay tuned for the next episode for the remaining 5 of opera's 10 most tear-jerking moments. And if you do like my channel, please click the subscribe button below, and if you would like to receive notifications, please also click the notification bell. Also, if you think that there are other tear-jerking moments in opera that I have omitted, please feel free to comment in the comments box below. I'll see you for the next episode of the Martin Ng channel. Bye!